Hi, I'm Lindsay from Modern Tribal Mamas and Long Island Breastfeeding, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about milk storage. Freshly expressed breast milk can stay good at room temperature for about 6 to 8 hours and possibly up to 10 hours. And milk in the refrigerator stays good between 3 days and 8 days. Milk in the freezer stays good anywhere from 3 to 6 months or 6 to 12 months, depending upon how you store it. When you are storing the milk, just make sure before you put it away that you put the date on the container, whether you're using one of the freezer containers or the bags. There's space here and over here to write down what date it is, and also the amount of milk can also be helpful. And something that I like to do in these bags is to actually freeze them laying down, as long as this is sealed nice and tight, because then you can stack them on top of each other and there's much more room in the freezer. So also when you're storing the milk, make sure you put the milk in the center of the refrigerator or in the center of the freezer and not on the door. That way each time you open the freezer or open the refrigerator, the milk is being exposed to the least amount of warm air as possible, so it stays fresher longer. If you put your milk and you store it properly in the center of the refrigerator, it will last more like 8 days versus 3, assuming that the temperature in your refrigerator is working. So when you're storing milk in your freezer, the 6 to 12 month time span that I gave earlier applies more to deep freezers, and the 3 to 6 month time span applies more to your regular old freezer. Although it is possible that your breast milk stays longer than 6 months in the regular freezer as well, assuming that you've stored it properly. Another thing to take note of is that sometimes defrosted breast milk can have a funny smell to it, like a metal smell or a soapy smell, and that's usually just from a buildup of lipase. If your milk is in fact bad, it will smell bad, really rancid. There won't be much doubt in your mind of whether or not it's bad. So if you're kind of saying, this smells funny, this tastes funny, as long as the baby drinks it and it's been stored within that time range, I really wouldn't dump it, and don't worry about it. So when you're thawing milk from the freezer, it's best to kind of let the milk run under some warm water to defrost. Never put your milk in the microwave. That can have some hot spots and it can definitely destroy the nutrients in your breast milk. So you could just leave it in some warm water or even put it in the refrigerator to thaw out slowly. And you want to use that milk within 24 hours. Maybe you could stretch it a little bit longer if it still smells fine. But definitely 24, 48 hours, you want to use that milk up. Okay, so just 2 quick tips that I have. I recommend that when you're storing the milk, you store it in smaller quantities, like 2 to 4 ounces or less, depending on how much the baby's eating at a feeding. This way you don't waste any milk, because like I said earlier, once that milk is defrosted, you kind of have to use it within a day or at most 2 days. And the second tip I have is to try and give your baby as much freshly expressed breast milk as possible, or milk that has not been stored that long. That's because your milk is tailor-made for your baby, so whatever your baby needs that week, that's what your milk is going to have. With that being said, milk from weeks ago or months ago is still going to be much more beneficial than any formula on the market. Okay, so I hope this video was helpful to you, and stay tuned for more to come.